$65 billion. That was the number. The grand total printed in neat little rows on the account statements of nearly 5,000 people. Their fortune, their retirement, their safe, steady, can't-lose investment with the most trusted man on Wall Street. None of it was real. Here is the part that should break your brain. For decades, the greatest investor anyone had ever seen did not invest. He barely traded at all. The money came in, went into one single bank account, and just sat there. While upstairs on the 17th floor, one man in an old computer printed out fake fortunes and mailed them to you. His name was Bernie Madoff, and he ran the same simple trick for 30 years, maybe longer, right under the nose of Wall Street, the government, and a Nobel Prize winner. So how do you fake $65 billion? How do you hand people a number that big, a number that is a complete lie, and have nobody check for 3 decades? Grab a snack. This one is a slow-motion car crash. First, you have to understand why nobody ever suspected him. Bernie Madoff was not some shady guy in a back alley. He was Wall Street royalty. In 1960, he started a tiny trading firm with $5,000 he had saved working as a lifeguard and installing lawn sprinklers. And he was genuinely good at it. His legitimate business helped build the modern electronic stock market, the fast computer trading we all use today. He got so respected that he became the chairman of NASDAQ. Yes, the NASDAQ, one of the biggest stock markets on the planet. He advised the government on how markets should work. He sat on the committees that wrote the rules. Sit with that for a second. The man running the largest financial fraud in human history was helping write the rules for catching financial fraud. That was the disguise, and it was perfect, because nobody, and I mean nobody, points a finger at the referee. Now the trick itself. Behind the respectable business, Bernie ran a second, secret one, an exclusive investment club, and the pitch was beautiful in its simplicity. He promised steady returns, around 10 to 12% a year. Not flashy, not get rich quick, just steady, reliable, every single year like clockwork. And that is the exact detail that should have ended it on day one. Because Bernie's returns almost never went down. Markets crashed, the world panicked, everybody else bled red on the screen, and Bernie's clients just kept climbing, up and up and up. A man named Harry Markopolos looked at those numbers and did the math in about 5 minutes. He said Bernie's track record was like a baseball player getting a hit almost every single time he stepped up to the plate for an entire career. 30 years, almost no losing months. He drew the returns on a chart, and it was a near-perfect line at 45 degrees. Just up. That line does not exist in real investing. It is not rare. It is impossible. Markopolos had found the bomb. Remember him, he comes back. So if the returns were fake, what was actually happening to the money? Here is the whole scheme, and it is almost insultingly simple. It is called a Ponzi scheme, and Bernie ran the biggest one in history. There was no strategy. He told everyone he used some clever technique juggling stocks and options, a thing with a fancy name. It was a story, a prop, set dressing. In reality, when you handed Bernie your money, he did not invest it. He put it in one bank account at a bank called Chase. One account. And when some other customer wanted to cash out and collect their so-called profits, Bernie simply paid them with your money. New money walks in the front door. It pays the old money walking out the back. That is the entire engine. As long as more cash is coming in than going out, the machine runs forever, and it looks like a miracle. And to make the miracle look real, he needed paperwork. So on the 17th floor of his building, kept separate from the real company, a small crew ran an ancient computer. Their entire job was to print lies. Fake trade confirmations, fake account statements. They would look up yesterday's stock prices and then pretend Bernie had bought those exact stocks at the perfect moment. You would get a gorgeous statement in the mail showing all the brilliant trades Bernie made for you that month. He made none of them. Not one. The trades never happened. And here is the dark genius of the whole con. Bernie did not chase you. He made you chase him. You could not just invest with Bernie Madoff. You had to be invited, introduced by the right person. He would act like he was doing you a personal favor by even accepting your money. He turned people away at the door, which of course only made everyone want in more. He worked the country clubs, the charity galas. He was a hero inside the Jewish community, and he quietly robbed it from the inside. Synagogues, foundations, Holocaust survivors. When people trust you because you are one of them, they do not ask the hard questions. They just feel lucky to be let in. And there were no hard questions allowed. No website to log into. No real-time anything. Just paper statements in the mail and a polite suggestion that you not worry yourself about the details. If you ever got nervous and asked to pull your money out, he would hand it right over, instantly, with a warm smile, which only proved how safe it all was. See, totally legitimate. Whole armies of middlemen, called feeder funds, popped up just to shovel other people's billions into Bernie, collecting fat fees for themselves and asking him absolutely nothing. The money got so big it stopped looking like a pile of cash and started looking like a mountain. So let's get back to Harry Markopoulos, our math guy. He did not just suspect Bernie, he proved it. He worked out that for Bernie's fake strategy to even be possible, Bernie would have needed to buy more of a certain kind of stock option than existed in the entire market. Not more than he could afford, more than existed. It was physically impossible. So Harry did the responsible thing. He took his evidence to the government watchdog, the SEC. In the year 2000, then again in 2001, then again in 2005, in a report he literally titled, "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud." They did nothing. The SEC received 6 separate warnings about Bernie Madoff over 16 years. They ran a couple of lazy, half-hearted looks and walked away every single time. Their own investigators later admitted they never once performed a real, competent examination. Why not? Because he was Bernie Madoff, former chairman of NASDAQ, pillar of Wall Street. Surely that man would not be running a scam. Nobody checks the referee. For decades, the machine just ran. New money covered the old money. The statements got fatter. Everybody stayed happy. And then 2008 happened. The whole global economy fell off a cliff. And when people get scared, they want their cash right now. So all at once, Bernie's investors asked to withdraw about $7 billion. There was just one tiny problem. The money was not there. It had never been there. Nothing was ever actually invested, remember? After paying out fake profits for decades, the great Bernie Madoff had, sitting in his one bank account, only about $200 million left. Against $7 billion in requests, the math finally, fatally, flipped. More going out than coming in. The machine seized and died. On December 10th, 2008, Bernie pulled his 2 sons into his apartment and told them the truth. The whole investment business was a fraud. In his own words, quote, "one big lie." His sons worked at the firm, but on the clean, legitimate side, and they were horrified. The very next morning, they turned their own father in to the FBI. A few months later, Bernie pleaded guilty to 11 felonies. The judge handed him 150 years in prison, the absolute maximum the law allowed. He would die behind bars. Now, most heist stories end right there, at the arrest. This one does not, because the damage Bernie set off kept hurting people long after the handcuffs clicked. Just 12 days after it all collapsed, a French money manager who had placed over $1 billion of his client's savings with Bernie locked his office door and took his own life. Elie Wiesel, the Nobel Peace Prize winner who survived the Holocaust, lost his entire charitable foundation and most of his personal savings. He called Bernie a thief, a scoundrel, a criminal. Charities that fed the hungry and funded medical research simply closed. gone overnight. And then there was Bernie's own family. His brother went to prison for 10 years, and both of his sons were destroyed by what their father did. His older son, Mark, took his own life in his apartment exactly 2 years to the day after the arrest, while his own little boy slept down the hall. His younger son, Andrew, died of cancer a few years after that and went to his grave blaming the stress of the scandal, never once forgiving his father. Bernie Madoff stole a lot more than money. But here is the strange, almost unbelievable turn at the very end of this story. The victims got a huge chunk of their money back. A lawyer named Irving Picard was put in charge of cleaning up the wreckage, and he turned out to be an absolute pit bull. He spotted something clever. Over the years, some people had actually pulled money out of Bernie's scheme. They withdrew far more than they ever put in. They had quietly gotten rich on other victims' cash, whether they realized it or not. So Picard sued them, all of them. He clawed the money back from the winners to repay the losers. From the estate of one single early investor, he recovered billions. In total, he hauled back about $15 billion. To this day, it is the most successful fraud recovery in history. Most of the real victims, the people who lost genuine savings, got the majority of their money back. Many of the smaller investors got nearly all of it. After the biggest financial fraud of all time, that almost never happens. So, happy ending? Not quite. Here is the cruel little catch. Remember that $65 billion printed on the statements? You do not get that. You never could. It was never real. You only get back what you actually put in. So picture the retired teacher who spent years watching her statement quietly grow until she believed she had $3 million. She thought she was wealthy. She made plans. She felt safe. She gets back the $800,000 she truly deposited. On paper, she is made whole. But the fortune she thought she had, the one she had been counting on for 20 years, that was always just ink. Numbers typed by a stranger on the 17th floor. And that is the real horror of Bernie Madoff. He did not just steal people's money, he sold them a number. A big, beautiful, comforting number. And the number was a lie the entire time. If an investment never, ever goes down, it is not a strategy, it is a printer. This is Broke on Purpose, where I show you exactly how people lose money so that you don't. If you would rather laugh at a scam than fall for one, hit subscribe. Trust me, there are so many more of these.